this is Amanda Vestal, and this is our discussion video regarding informed consent. When I went onto my computer and put in, just Googled professional counselor informed consent form, the first form that came up for me was from True North Christian Counseling Informed Consent, which is a Christian counseling organization in Michigan. And I'm almost wondering now if they specifically are Christian counselors. So that would be a question I had for them. There were not very many specifics. So I looked another place up too. So first I'll talk about this one. But the things that were absent from this informed consent were they did not give any clarity regarding their fee structure, except clarity regarding missed appointment fees, which was $75. They definitely made that clear. There was nothing specific about goals or counseling plans. They did not give any specifics with regard to their training. In fact, they stated that they gave counseling services to individuals seeking to integrate Christian principles into the process of resolving personal issues. While all of their therapists come from a God-centered understanding of people, each has unique background and training, but that's all they said. So I don't know if that actually meant that they were Christian counselors, pastoral counselors, maybe they had certificates, but they did still talk about filing insurance, so it was a mixed bag. So therefore, not such a great informed consent, because as a potential client, I was pretty confused about who provided what. On the front part of the page, it looked like it was a group practice because they talked about, we encourage you to discuss blah blah blah. On the back sheet, when they talked about confidentiality, they spoke in the first person, so that was a little confusing for me as well. So those were the biggies on True North Christian Counseling in Michigan. That what was absent that would have been not in agreement with what the ACA Code of Ethics under A2B and under A2 altogether, but A2A and A2B, the informed consent and the types of information needed, definitely fee structure was lacking, goals, counseling plans, specific techniques, specific training, and the counselor's credentials. That was all missing from this informed consent. I did take a look at North Carolina, and I was happy to see that my state looks like they've gotten it together about this. In the state of North Carolina, they actually provide, they've changed our credentialing or credential acronym from licensed professional counselor to licensed clinical mental health counselor. And they have an associate designation when you're under supervision. Then you're a licensed clinical mental health counselor when you're in practice. And then you can be an LCMHCS, which means you're a supervisor. So they actually had a template for each three of those positions. And they actually called it a professional disclosure statement. And they go specifically through exactly what the counselor needs to include in that mirrors exactly what the ACA Code of Ethics states. So I felt like that was really good and responsible of the state of North Carolina to do that. And so they're trying to unify it across our state. And I was interested to see what that looked like in my own city. If there was somebody how are people doing that here? And I first tried to look up a counseling firm I'm really familiar with, and I couldn't find their informed consent. But then I looked up another counseling service group that I know here, and they definitely had it all together. They listed themselves as an LCMHC. And actually, this woman graduated from Liberty University with, in 2013, it was a master's degree in licensed professional counseling instead of the clinical mental health counseling, which I guess now is because we're CACREP certified. And she gives tons of specifics about her counseling background, her credentials. She lists out every part of all of her session fees, the length of the sessions, her cancellation policy. She even goes in to talk about the private pay rate. And one thing that I thought was really good that she put on here as well was her phone consult rate. She also made it really clear in the insurance portion that, and she did this in bold, she said that all clients needed to be aware that any diagnosis that was given to the client would, if they filed insurance, would be a part of their permanent insurance record. And I thought that was really important, that a client does need to understand that that is a permanent record that's kept. Again, confidentiality, she hit on all of that. Very specific about other rights with regard, especially with an emergency plan. The other one that I have looked at from Michigan basically said if you needed somebody after hours to call, leave a voicemail, someone would call you back. Then it said there'd be a fee for a phone consult, but they didn't list what the fee would be. And there wasn't a specific plan of like, if you can't get into it with anybody and you're having a serious crisis, that wasn't specified. It was just somebody will call you, leave a voicemail. This was specific that she didn't have on-call emergency coverage. You know, she specifically stated if you're having a psychiatric emergency, you should contact one of the following. She gives all these resources, 3 or 4 different resources. Also, our local counties, since we sort of serve several counties in the city that I live in, would serve a couple of other rural counties. She listed the number that would serve the mobile crisis line that would serve all of those counties, which I thought was really good. And then she listed where any complaints regarding her service would need to be filed, although emphasizing that her hope would be that clients would bring that to her attention first. Then the acceptance of terms, and then a big page about authorization for credit card use. So anyway, I thought Ms. Larson's professional disclosure statement, which is her informed consent, but in the state of North Carolina, the template state professional disclosure statement, I thought it was great, and she followed it exactly. The state of North Carolina, our templates follow the ACA Code of Ethics, informed consent in the counseling relationship as defined under A.2 to the T. So I guess I was sort of relieved that for me in the state of North Carolina, they have given me basically a roadmap of exactly how to do it, and I'm grateful.